Todd, Ponte Saber got a look there with McDavid and Nugent Hopkins. I mean, I know obviously he's a relatively new Oiler, so there's still a lot to learn about him. But how do you assess him so far?
Well, it's only been three periods with Connor. I think you're probably asking the overall question from the time that we have him. I thought that he played with a lot of fire in the first 3 games and let the 4th one get away on him. And then this one, after having a talk with him and give him a chance with Connor, I thought he performed fairly well there. The one thing he has is he's got some good smarts and a shot. He was willing to use it on Connor's line. He didn't get productive with it, but he did try and use it. And I think it's much too early to formulate a real strong opinion. We've got to let him play more games and see where he's at after probably 10 and have a better indication.
You're getting more, I think, comfort in knowing that Ryan Strom's probably a solid third-line center option for your team. You've kept Puljujarvi and Slepyshev together. Do you kind of visualize them maybe being a line again next year? Is that why you're wanting to leave them together right now to see what they can do?
Well, we want to leave them together because we think they've been productive right now. We don't know what our team is going to look like next year as far as personnel goes. So right now they've created some chemistry. Yes, he's played well on his off wing. He's created a number of chances. Anton's playing with more confidence. And the best we've had Ryan Strome play all year has been in the last 3 weeks to a month. And what's common is those 3 have played together. So we've got one line going. We're not about to tinker and tear it apart. Now as we move down the stretch, and if it doesn't go well, we will. But each of the 3 has found a positive impact on most games, so we're happy with that.
Commitment, dedication, and professionalism, are those the kinds of things you start looking for here down the stretch?
No, because we look for those right from the beginning of the season all the way on. It doesn't change right now. What we'll look for is a fall off in those areas. And those 3 elements should show up all the time. It's hard to be your best every night, regardless of being in first place or trailing. Yet you've got to try and bring that every night. And I think the first indication of it sliding is usually practices. I've liked our practices lately. The leaders have worked hard there. They're trying to get better. They're trying to move the needle in a positive direction. But we've got 14 games left, and we expect good performances in all of them. Will we get that? We hope so, but 14 games is a long time, a lot of road games, and we're not going to let them off the hook, but to expect perfection right now, it doesn't exist, but to expect effort and professionalism and those other words that you used, yes, it should be there.
You've had good success against the Flames in the last 2 seasons. Any explanation why?
Well, the rivalry, I think, gets both teams up. It's an exciting time to be playing, especially against your rival. We've found some breaks. We've got some good goaltending. We found ways to check when we needed to. We've had to come back in games. There's really no pattern to our success against them. Every game's been different, and every game has taken on its own personality. So, we hope that continues again tomorrow, and we can find a way to push our way to a win.
Outside of the coach's room wants to see him work power play, score a bunch of points, and be that offensive defenseman that you need. Inside the coach's room, what are the things that's going to keep him on his team and keep him getting a chance?
Well, I got to ask the question, outside the coach's room, everybody wants to say, what does that mean? He's been on the power play. He's been on both units. He's running the first power play. So I would disagree with your question. What I would say is that we agree with your question. He is on the power play. He's running it. And that's a real positive. Moving forward, we want to see him continue that. A lot of players come in early with some energy and some excitement, and they perform real well, and then it tends to fall off. He hasn't shown signs of that. We're going to play against our rival in Calgary. We'll see how he responds in that game. And going forward, we want to make sure that he has a positive experience here, but also is learning and improving as he's doing it. And that would probably come in the defensive area.
Is he defending well enough 5-on-5 to hold those other spots we're talking about?
He's getting there. He's certainly not hurting us a lot, but there are segments of his game that he knows he has to work on and that we're trying to work on him with. And it's interesting because we're asking about a guy who's played 5 games. We've got guys that have played 800 games that need to do that. And, so that goes both ways. We focus on the young player because he's experiencing things for the first time. And he's a very fast learner. He's willing to learn. He's got a high IQ, and he picks things up quickly. So we think that he can continue to improve.
You mentioned your defensive zone coverage. Your 5-on-5 scoring has been virtually the same as it was last year, but your goals against 5-on-5 have went up significantly. I know there's been some injuries at different times to defense, but as your group, what have you seen? What's been the biggest factor in you allowing so much more goals this year 5-on-5 than you did last?
Well, I think it's been a combination of positions, so goaltending, back end and forwards. On the breakdowns, last year we got a much higher save ratio in some of those really tough, goal expectation areas. So they were likely standing on their heads a lot more to get those saves than they are this year. Our net play hasn't been near as good, so anything that gets in and around the paint, we haven't done near as good a job cleaning the crease out and eliminating secondary chances. And some of our responsibilities with the forwards have slipped. So we've got to paint the team with the same brush. It's just not one area. It's somewhere that we have to improve. I believe we talked at the beginning of the year about taking that number down by 15 goals to have success. We obviously haven't done it, and we haven't had success.
You mentioned the paint areas for your defense. When you say clearing it, are you talking physically or just the decisions to get to the loose pucks?
No, it's the loose puck is laying there. It doesn't care who gets to it first. Sometimes we're engaged physically when we can be, we call it sweeping the crease out. And Talbs or Monty has made that first save, and we're engaged physically when we can be sweeping pucks out. There's other times where we don't get to sticks quick enough on loose pucks, or other times where we lose positioning in around the net. And that happens with every team. It just happens a little too much right now with us, and we're well aware of it. We're still trying to fix it.
Do you have an update on
Clough, as I said the other day, he was going to miss 2 games. He's been out for 1. He'll miss the game in Calgary. He skated today after having a small procedure. There was no body contact or anything involved. There's a good chance that he'll play Wednesday. The procedure will dictate further down the road what will happen. And he and his agent and everybody else will participate in the decision. There's nothing written in stone. There's a real good chance he'll play the rest of the season and train in the summer and come back.
What's your view on teams embracing the spoiler role? Some people say it's something you get excited about. Other people sort of think that it's...
Well, when you embrace the spoiler role, you've spoiled your own season, right? is how I see it. And the motivation behind that is great. Keep pushing and play hard and ruin it for somebody else. But when you get to that spot, you haven't done enough to make it a happy place for your own team. And for me, that's the spoiler role. We've spoiled our own season.